first time I touched the ball, the first time I played the game, I'd already played soccer. And I mean, every young kid in Ghana always plays soccer. But when I touched basketball, it felt really different because it's something I can't really explain, but it's it's a strong interest that was drawn towards the game of basketball, even though I was playing soccer. So even though it was a very tough beginning where, every beginner for the game, you have to learn the skills. It's very difficult, making a lot of mistakes. I really enjoy the process, and that alone shows how much somebody loves something. And on top of it, a friend, just like I mentioned earlier, Palan Quinn introduced me to the game. They used to play in the
Mhm.
neighborhood or in an uncompleted building, to be honest, in an uncompleted building where they had set up some hoops with some
Mhm.
wood and some cans and stuff like that. And they used to play there, and I decided to join them. He used to call me anytime he's going. And throughout all those adversities, twisting your ankles, not being a favorable condition, parents not really supporting from the beginning. I still
Mhm.
wanted to get better, and I think that was the true definition of loving the game and finding a different sports that I was really interested in. And on top of it, I think one thing I also didn't mention was I'm 6'2.5", and she's almost 6'3", but my
Mhm.
shoe size from a young age was almost like 40. It was hard to get football boots
Mhm.
when I was young. So transitioning into basketball, finding basketball, knowing that you can find shoes that are your size at that for that game was really much easier for me to, quickly adapt and just fall in love with the game more because you don't need to think
Mhm.
about going to get football boots, which are not your
Mhm.
size, and it's hard to find. So at that time, so that was then I was introduced to it from a friend, and it was born
Mhm.
inside. Yeah, it was also born inside.
And I mean, going to Presec. I mean, how is the basketball culture in Presec, and what do you say its impact it had on you?
So Persec gave me a foundation to be fearless.
Mhm.
Persec gave me a foundation to actually start learning the game more. Persec gave me a foundation to see a broader part of talents that I had never seen.
Mhm.
And they challenged me at the beginning level because when I came to Persec, there were big names such as Grenade, Asase, I forgot some of the guys, but
Uche,
Che, there were a lot of guys, even at my level, at my age.
Kunto.
Sorry,
You
you
said
mentioned the name.
Uche, Kunto.
Yeah, there were Uche, yes, a lot of guys. So at Persec, I wasn't like a go-to guy. Sec was a
Mhm.
very foundational level for me because I used that opportunity to also learn and pick from a lot of people because when it came to handles, dribbling,
Mhm.
everybody knew Grenade was like an N1 guy where he had top-notch handles. Both guys like Obami who were in my group, Control, who could shoot the ball, Uche with size, post ups and everything like that. So as I say, same thing. So I had to learn a lot from them. I had to quickly adapt and pick from
Mhm.
all these guys while learning the seven, like, hey, how do you do this? How do you do this? Asking a lot of questions.
Mhm.
So Prosec had a culture, they had a lot of names. I think back then to Achimota was one of the Accra schools that was really competing with Prosec and Aquinas, yeah, Achimota and Aquinas. And from Form 1, I didn't make the team. I didn't make the team. I was cut. They had tryouts. I didn't make it. Second year, first term, I didn't make the team. By getting to the end of my second year, when the seniors left, that was how come I was able to make the team.
Mhm.
And Uche took me under his wings as a school son, taught me a lot of things. And I think I became the captain then. And at that time, I was still playing like a big guy,
Mhm.
but then I wasn't playing like a guard. So it made it more, I would say, at the young level, high school level, it wasn't challenging because you don't have so many kids that are so tall or so athletic at that age. It was based on raw athleticism and strength at that
Mm-hmm.
young age. So I had a lot to learn from that area until I finished Prosec. And our coach then, Coach Mike, told me, "Hey, you are not a forward. You're a point guard." When he
Mm-hmm.
said that, it stuck into my head. I think there was a guy back then. He went to Pope Jones. He was also part of the Royalties Academy. And Brian, he also had a lot of, he had a tight handle. So I used to work out with him, trying to learn from him. Brian was a top guy when it came to handling the ball. So I started learning some guard skills. You always have to learn from people who are always better than you. So he challenged me. We always worked out, played one-on-ones, contour also. And that was when we had a call for the national under 18 after Prosec.
Mm-hmm.
And I quickly had to start learning and adapting. I learned from so many guys. I even learned from guys like Ivy. He currently plays for Reformers because I played the U18 with him. He was a primary point guard with Coach
Mm-hmm.
Ororo. So a lot of coaches, a lot of players back from Pusek, out of Pusek. But Pusek's culture was good. In my first to my last year, it was good. But I think compared to other high schools like Butray, the investment is not really as high like that. But there were a lot of names, there were a lot of people, and we being in Accra, it was much easier for us to sometimes go to the University of Ghana to also see a lot of older people play and learn from them too. Yeah.
Okay, before we get to why Presec has so much talent but wasn't able to make it like perform well in tournaments during our time in high school. Uh I mean, you spoke about learning a lot from guys who were like classified to be bigs, like bigs. What was the major difference as your coach? A major difference you noticed as your coach told you that you are not a big, you're a point guard. What was something that you noticed, like how you view the game as like being a big before and transforming into a guard? What was the difference you noticed as a player?
As a player, that's a great question. I think as a player, one of the big differences I noticed was, first of all, was size. He was someone who was very honest every time, but I noticed he was being very honest with me.
I
He
know.
has to look
Hello,
right with a game.
Joel. Can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me?
Now I'm saying the
Yes,
question
I can
is,
hear you now.
you said before you were classified as a big, you were playing as a big, as a basketball player, right? As a big, I view the
Yeah,
court differently from how a point guard views the basketball court. Do you understand what I'm saying?
for sure.
And I'm saying, what was the
Yeah.
difference? What was the difference you noticed transferring from being a big to a point guard? What was something that you noticed? How were you viewing the court? What do you see that you're like, oh, I didn't see this when I was a big. Now I'm a point guard. Now I see the game differently. What was something different that you saw in the game?
So okay, I get the question now. So playing the big was more in high school, but I started playing point guard a little bit after national under 18. So it was quite a long period. But what I really remember was that playing as a point guard now, I had to be more decisive. I had to, because you have the ball most of the time in your hands, so your decision making has to be faster and more quicker than even other guys on the team. And as I always say, you being the coach on the floor, you have to be more vocal, you have to be the leader on the floor, as compared to playing as a big where it's more playing around the rim, trying to catch rebounds, trying to do a lot of tippings and just around the rim. So the major difference was you having the ball most of the time in your hands, taking care of the ball, and also, let me say, playing to the philosophy of your coach depends highly on you as the point guard. So most coaches will never like you to turn over the ball because turnovers always has the team. So as a point guard, transitioning or learning that from that shift was a very difficult time for me because I used to turn over the ball a lot. I used to turn it over a lot because I just started playing as a point guard, so your handles have to be tight. While your handles are tight, you have to read the game, know when you're running the game at a fast pace, knowing when to slow down the game. And I was young, so a lot of mistakes happened. And I was glad I had a coach who was able to accommodate my mistakes because that was what really helped me to learn as fast as I could. So that transition, that was the major difference I saw as a point guard. You have to grow in your leadership qualities really fast. You have to be the one who has to make quick decisions as simply as it is being the coach on the floor so that the guys can actually follow. So that was the biggest transition for me. Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, getting back to Persec, I mean, like as I was saying, you guys had a lot of talent in Persec, like names.
Where's Jeremiah?
I'm trying to get Jeremiah on the line. I don't know where he is right
Ah,
now.
okay.
I'm trying to get him on the.
Scared, huh?
Why do you think Jeremiah is scared? But anyways, as we were talking, I mean, Presec had a lot of talent, like names of Uche, Kontor, you, Grenade, Anaman, and so on. I mean, but when we played tournaments, you guys had so much talent. But when we played tournaments, you guys were never successful in tournaments. What was the issue that was affecting Presec?
Well, I think I can speak for my year group,
Hmm.
but for the other year groups, I can only speak from observation because from observing from the previous year groups, those who were before us, that was how come we were able to um, adapt and just make some few adjustments to see what we have to really do as a team so we can get better. So from observation, I realized just like we just said previously, we had names, but we didn't have a team.
Hmm.
So, and we know basketball as a team sport. If you are not a team, you can never actually have any success. So we had names, but we didn't have a team. So going up onto our group, we decided to be a team. That's how come we ended up even in the Sprite Boy finals. We lost to Kitasco, but in that run, we actually didn't lose any game because we had a lot of guys who were hungry to get better. We had a coach who was also very strict or very firm on teamwork, playing together as a team. That's Coach Mike. So from observation, that was one thing we saw because we had a lot of names, just like you just mentioned, but we didn't come together as a team. And I won't also say maybe they didn't have a coach because I didn't know the coach back then. But there was no team, but there were individual names. But on our group, we were all, let me just say, at our level back then, we were all average guys. Maybe except Contour, who was actually one of the high school players who was really, really, really good for our age back then. But almost every other person on the team, Samir J and Prince Rooney and the other guys were quite all average for our age group. Some very low, so that was how come we were able to join together as a team, complement each other's weaknesses and strengths, and that's how come we were able to make a run to make it to the final. So I think that was the major problem back then. Yeah.
Okay, and also as a student athlete in Presec, I mean, getting to the next level of education, you needed to be very serious with education, and also as an athlete, you needed to be very dedicated to your craft, right? So, how was it like? How was it like also combining
Yeah.
education with sports at Presec?
Yeah, so for combining education in sec was tough because our basketball court was just close to the headmaster's house, his residence. So when you decide to go for early morning practice or even late night practice, you can have the security man chase you off the court. We had experiences like that a lot of times. So the combining basketball and being Sek was also very stout on academics. So if it's time for prep, if it's time for study, you have to be there. So it wasn't easy, but I think we had a coach that's just like I said, Coach Mike, who was also very strict on we study. So he always used to give us this key that we should always befriend people in the class who are smarter than us so that we learn from them, that we find people in the class who we are smarter than, that we teach them. Then that is how come we can be able to learn. So that was one of the strategies I really employed as a student athlete back in high school because there's no incentives, there's no additional grades given to you who's playing basketball. So if you're not able to find any strategy to just push yourself, you might end up becoming the last person in class, and that will still go against you. So it wasn't easy, and there were days where you're so tired. I mean, back in high school, one of my English teachers used to call me. She was a lady. She used to call me sleeping beauty because I was always sleeping in class. I was always sleeping in class because I was always tired, just playing basketball, going to class, being a prefect, doing a lot of things. So combining it was not easy. There was no incentive, there was no reward given like extra grades or nothing like that. So you had to push and put everything together so you can get out successfully. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, after high school, most players want to go outside the country to further their basketball journey, right? And I mean, how was it like before getting to like UG? I want to know what steps you took. Like, what was the motivation like after you finished high school? And I mean, after high school, there's also a grace period that we like a year, right? Is it a year? We stay at home
Yeah.
and trying to figure out before we get to college. And how was it like though? Did you want to? Was it in your your dreams to go outside the country to play right after high school? And was your family also supportive of this decision as well too?
Yeah. So for me, I think it all started 2010 when Ghana played Uruguay in the World Cup semifinals. And we lost. Everybody remembers that game. And my mom was like, let's go to church. I was like, there's no way I'm going to church with you after this kind of loss. So it became a big quarrel, a big fight, and I was like, okay, fine, then let's just go. So we go, and mothers always are about church. So just at the back with the guys discussing about the game, the Black Stars lost and everything. And there was a man of God who called my mom, and he started giving my mom some words of prophecies, as they say, that hey, your son is playing basketball. I see your son play basketball and other things like that, and it's something that is going to make it like big, something like that. So I wasn't there by then, but she when she heard that, it gave her some calmness, and later I was told. So that was when the interest started. So when the interest started that way, I mean, of course, when you start getting better at the game, there are many things that you want to expose yourself to because you realize that, okay, there are other levels to actually what you're doing. So from Presec High School, I was wondering what the next step would be. But for me personally, from the beginning stages, all I was thinking about was getting better because I was always watching videos of one of my favorite player since back then, Derrick Rose. I was like, whoa, there are higher heights we need to get to. Like, if these guys are doing that, then we have a lot to learn. We have a lot to build. So training, just getting better. I was more interested about the process than any other thing that was going to come with it from the beginning stages. But after high school, I we got a call to the national under 18, and when exposure started coming, going to Benin, we went to Nigeria, Togo, played with other African countries, and even though we qualified for the African Cup. The government said there was no money to take us out
That's
for
crazy.
the African Cup
That's
before the
that's
World Cup.
insane. That's insane. The
So
whole country, bro.
at that time, guys also had scholarships. I had a scholarship back then to go to a prep school with Contour and a few other guys, and it didn't work out. So when we came back, we were looking for the schools were waiting for us to go for this African Cup, so they could see how we will perform and try to, push more for us to get there. But because we were guards, I think we were the first face of basketball players actually traveling from Ghana, and people never know this, like traveling from Ghana as guards to leave directly to the States. We had never had people leaving directly from Ghana to the States. At that time, it was guys like Nathan Mensah, Joel Mensah. They were in our group because we all played in national under 18 and 16. So we're all in the same group, Kingdom Hoops. All these guys were part of our group who went to the embassy, but they were the tallest guys. So that's how come they had the air, they had the nod, like they were giving the go ahead to go through and everything. But we the smallest guys, that was Contour and I think I don't remember the other person, but Contour and I were the shortest guys on the team because we were the guards. They didn't give it to us. So that was when we had to go for the national under 18. But despite the Kingdom Hoops, we're going for an invitational tournament. So for me, it was just the exposure. But when we were refused, we came back again with another scholarship because we did so well in Benin. We got a scholarship to Massachusetts with Samir J or Samir J and Prince Wuni who had it and they moved. But they didn't give it to us again because it's never been heard that the guard is going. They were asking us, like they were kind of like being skeptical. So after that rejection, like we had San Diego, when Nathan Mensah San Diego was trying to recruit him. They had one of their coaches fly down to royalties to have a camp. And we asked him directly. I remember Contor and I walked up to him and were like, can't we play as guys? Like, what does he think about our game as guys? Because we want to also be there. And he was like, well, we have the game, but there are many guys in America. He was very honest with that. That's what he said. So at that point, we knew that, hey, there's a lot of work we had to do, but we didn't stop. We kept pushing, and I had another scholarship again. So and during that period, it was just getting better, just trying to hit the high point of your success as an individual, of your potential. So I wouldn't say I was thinking too much about traveling, but when it started opening up, I was like, oh, okay, so these opportunities are there. Then that was when I was now looking out for it. That hey, I can just push myself out there, push myself out there. So at that point, we kept trying. It wasn't working out. We're just looking for different pathways. So there were a series of scholarships we had after playing the national under 18. And when they started opening up, that was when I was like, okay, cool. The opportunities that we can actually fish out for. So that was when the eyes were open to actually go after them. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, right after that, I mean, we'll talk about, I mean, UPAC, I mean, University of Ghana. What was the what was the change from high school to college basketball like was for you? How did you find that the grind and the challenges from high school and college in Ghana?
Yeah. So for me, coming into the college system in Ghana, I was privileged to have been exposed to a little bit of international basketball across Africa before coming into the university game. So I wasn't so nervous to just adapt. Already, I was coming into University of Ghana with a name. So coming into the University of Ghana, it was a long year, and I can tell you, I don't remember a single day I didn't train in that year. It was basketball morning to evening because as I said, it was under 18, a lot of opportunities that were lined up. So it's just preparing ourselves for it. So within that period, it was just constant work. So coming into the college system, I was coming with the mindset that, hey, I'm coming to dominate. Like I'm just coming to be myself and play the game that I love. So I wasn't really thinking too much. I was just hoping to, keep playing the game, having fun, just making sure that you find yourself around an environment where you can also play with people who love the game equally like you do. So it wasn't really challenging for me, or there were no challenges for me from the beginning. I think the only challenge was from the first year, there were a lot of losses. The level of matching, the passion and everything was not the same with guys. And I think during that whole period too was a period where I was coming from opportunities that I didn't get and other things. So I was still trying to push myself. I wasn't really looking around. I was looking elsewhere. So it wasn't the only challenge for me was always trying to get people around me that were thinking the same way. Yeah.
And I mean, trying to get these people around you that had the same zeal as you. Did you think you found people around you that had the same zeal as you when you were in the University of Ghana?
Sorry, come again.
You say you're looking for people that had the same zeal as you, right? And I'm saying, did you find these people that had the same enthusiasm as you when you were trying to find it in college?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think uh, one of them is the person actually on the podcast interviewing me. So yeah, that's Max Mode back then. Like I mean, I think we were always pushing ourselves on the court and even in the weight room. And I think it was later after my first year then that it began. But yeah, I think there were not so many, but we had a few seniors who actually had also made some name. Cornick was always also pushing, like, hey, work out. Don't be like me, just work out, pushing and working out and stuff like that. But I think primarily one of the key people, and Emmanuel Wolf came later. Emmanuel Wolf came later, and he came to complement a lot of things also. Yeah, so just a few guys. Yeah.
So let's talk about. I mean, finding these people that had the same zeal as you. I mean, we had a lot of tournaments. I mean, in University of Ghana, right? So, what would you say the first UPAC? How was it? How was it the first UPAC competition? How was it, and how did you find it?
Oh, the first UPAC. Let me try to cast my memory back. I think the first UPAC was our most devastating loss, and it. I think yes. What I really remember was we lost, and they actually gave us another chance to try and qualify, and we still lost it. And that told us like, hey, we weren't that good enough. I think Marshall University really beat us really bad, so we couldn't qualify. And the tournament was actually played on our home court. Such a big disgrace to the university and the department. And that was when the restructuring had to be done, and we had to rebuild the whole team. So for the first UPAC, it wasn't so exciting at all. And I think I remember guys like you, me, we didn't play that much. And Nase, all these guys didn't really play that much because I think the coach back then was, I think was it a handball or
I think yeah,
I don't remember
handball,
the sports it
volleyball
was.
coach.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, volleyball coach. So it was a whole mix up with the team back then. So it was very, very devastating. We losing to Marshall and the organizers of the UPAC actually giving us an opportunity to qualify again. We still lost that opportunity more like so it was very, very sad. So the first one was actually a fuel for me to really come out big for the second year to the last year. Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, in general, I mean, we had. I think we played three UPAC games together. Three UPAC games together, right? Nah, I think I played three with you, but you played four, right? I think I played only three. Because when I left you
Yeah,
guys, you
you
played with
played three,
Wolf.
but I played four. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what was the rest of the UPAC games like? What was something that held the UG? What was something that you think came into the team that held the team, like raised the standard of the team to that limit that no team in Ghana could beat us for that long?
I think it was an unmatched hunger. The hunger was unmatched. Like we were just a hungry pack of lions. And what made it so different was we were hungry to be better for ourselves. And practice was always a challenge. There was nothing like I'm trying to take this one spot. Everybody knows what they had to offer to the team. And we're all hungry, like hungry to be better versions of ourselves and while pushing each other. So that was one thing that really made us unbeatable within that period, and we're able to soar really high for those years. So if you ask me, I'll just say an unmatched energy and guys who continue. We carried it on to the next guys come. It was an unmatched hunger for everyone. So when you guys left, Emmanuel Wolf came, Selassie came, Bernard came. They also had the same hunger, and it was unmatched. Like I mean, we would train in the sun, we would train extra hours, we would train early in the mornings, and the coach was hungry. By then, Mimi Falconer was the coach, so he brought a lot of hunger before Samori came. So from the head to the tail, the head of the snake to the tail, it was an unmatched hunger. Yeah,
So I was thinking about something. I have some questions for you myself, right? Well, I mean,
right.
we're not that close, but I always knew, I always knew you're a hardworking player for sure. But one thing I've noticed about you and some other guys I've known for sure, like you were not like, like a rascal. You were disciplined, you know what I mean? I never see you don't drink, you don't smoke. I don't know if you do now, but or you ever did before, but you just never looked like someone who was always like out there doing what what made you have that mindset to to act the way you act, and just be very, you have like you always had like this demeanor where people respect you. You feel me? What made you become the way you were, like with the kind of the way you move, the way you act, around that time? Can you hear me?
I think he's reconnecting.
There.
Let's wait for him.
Do you hear my
Did you hear
question?
his question?
He's frozen a little bit. This network stuff. Can you hear me?
Did you hear his
Yeah,
question?
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Did you hear his question?
Yeah, no, I didn't hear his question.
All right. So
So
I was
let me
saying
repeat.
that I didn't
No,
really
I
know
didn't
you
hear the
as
question.
much, but I seen how you always move. You seem very disciplined. I mean, you didn't look like a player that anybody will have any doubts about. You had like good characters, good features. Like mentally, you always look seem like a very smart person. And you're not like someone who's like out there drinking, smoking, doing all that stuff. What kept you disciplined? I mean, because you could have been one of you had a name and you could have chosen to do some crazy stuff. Get drunk every night, do stuff. You just were not that kind of player. What where did that come from? The discipline, and what made you think that you don't need to do those stuff to get to wherever you wanted to get to?
Well, think that's a great question. I think for me personally, I think it's more of credits to my parents, credits to my mother, like raising me in the point where it's always about looking out for your goals, making sure you've reached your goal to be able to think about actually relaxing or having pleasure. And until you've reached your goal, I mean, you can have fun, but make sure you are actually not getting out of the way where you can actually be distracted from your goal. So it's I will credit it to the foundational upbringing from my mother and even coaches that actually helped me from a very foundational age. And also for me personally, buying into that foundational training and discipline was because, as I mentioned, the values that I was always trained with from home. But personally, if you don't buy into anything they're giving to you, then you can actually achieve nothing. So for me, I had to buy into it because I looked at what I really wanted with this game that I want to achieve. I looked at people who are ahead, and I always ask, what do they do that I can also do, or what do they not do that I should also not do? So looking at all those parts, I had to make a decision for myself that, okay, do I, because as a basketball player up to date, I never went out late in the night. No, I'm tired, and I'm someone I really prioritize sleep. I like sleep. I love to sleep. I don't sleep long, but I love to sleep. So it's hard for me to just stay out a whole night or do other things when I know it's going to affect my sleep because I don't like playing a game being sluggish. I don't like waking up and doing other things and I'm being sluggish because it's always going to make me tired. So aside buying into the values, it comes with other things that I know it would affect me personally, which will make me not be able to perform at my best. So these were the things that actually made me always look straight and always be in the line to achieve my goals. So yes, of course, I'll always have I had friends who actually always engaged in those things, but you know what I actually want and you know what I don't do, so you don't bring it into my path. We respect our boundaries. So that was
Yeah,
one thing. Buying into the values, the foundational training from parents and coaches, and I had to buy into it. So I knew that okay, where I want to go, if I had to achieve this, then that is what I have to do. So that was what really helped me, and also not knowing that my sleep will always be affected,
yeah.
and other parts of my body will always be affected. I just had to make a personal decision.
Yeah, no, I like that. It's crazy. I'm trying to remember the last time I saw you. Maybe 9 years. Because I remember the last. I think, but the last time I saw you, I was actually played against you for real. We were like, I feel like we were on the royalties court. We played some opening rounds. I think,
Right, right,
bro,
right,
it's
right,
crazy. I remember that day. I also felt really good
right,
that day after
right,
playing. I
right,
remember I
right,
really did
right.
really well too.
And
It was a
CJ always
blessing.
shooting the jumper.
No, for real. I remember that game for real. I
Right,
was hitting my threes
right,
and stuff because I felt like my game was getting back again. But man, it was always like good, having you guys there because I was looking up to you guys. You guys always working out like you. It just one thing I've realized about athletes like
right,
you or like us is like you guys are so disciplined. It goes in every way of your life. People think just basketball is just a sport, but no, it makes you disciplined. You learn to be on time. You learn to do things the right way. You know what I mean? Like it just changes you. It's like a way of life. I remember our coach, Coach Mike is like basketball is a tool,
right,
right? He didn't just teach us basketball, he taught us how to be good men. Because I feel like if we didn't have those things, he taught us, we would have been something else, you know what I mean? We could have taken any other way. But ask Joel, we need to do Bible
right,
studies after practice. You don't get to run away from Bible studies. You don't get to work out and leave. You don't give no
right,
excuses. So it was like a blessing for us, give us, rooted and strong. But so
right,
I'm really,
right,
grateful to be part of, your journey and even seeing you and even on this call. My it's been so long. I'm trying to catch. It's just very different. It feels very, very different. But I'm excited to to see you here, Max Mode. Like guys who have put in so much hours for this game, man. And it's like what I mean. It has changed your life in a way. It has given an impact. Even if it's sometimes I feel like we're here to save people, right? So even if you couldn't make wherever you wanted to get to, you're able to give onto others. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, we're gonna get blessed at the end of the day. So I'm excited. I'm so grateful to to have you on this podcast, man. And looking forward to seeing you in person, though. I think I told Max Mode I'm about to come to Ghana. I don't know where you are, but I'm gonna go to Ghana this July 1st. So whoever I can get to see, I would love to see. So yeah.
But I have one question for you. I have a question for you guys. I
Oh,
mean, you
okay,
guys seem
okay,
you guys seem
okay.
talking
That's
about
that's awesome. That's awesome.
You guys seem talking about royalties, man. I mean, you guys went through the same academy. Like I spoke with Jeremiah, he spoke, I mean, good things about royalties, and it shaped how it shaped him as a basketball athlete. And you also, Joel Tham. And so, as I know, royalties is not running now. I mean, having such academies like royalties, I mean, that teaches an athlete and how to be a man, how to be an athlete, and how to be a Christian. I mean, do you think such academy should be more established in Ghana to help these kids like establish them as an athlete and as a man going into the real world? Do you think this should be more encouraged? Such academy should be more encouraged.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think for human beings, I mean, as tripartite beings, being we're not just made out of physical nature, but there's a soulish nature, psychological part, and the spiritual part. So three parts of your being always have to be developing. So the game, as Dr. Naismith has given and blessed every generation with, its his main goal was to evangelize with the game. So there's a physical component the game will always address, but there are other components of every human being. So if as a coach or even as an academy, you are only focusing on the physical part, they will definitely develop and gain some skills. But then society, as social beings, will relate with people and we have relationships. We relate. I mean, whatever you believe in, whether you believe in God or you believe in any other deity, there's a spiritual component of your being. So, if you are an academy, you should definitely have all these components being addressed for every human being or every athlete that you have.
Yeah.
So, every academy should definitely have that because athletes will never play the game till they are 40. By 40 max, you are done, unless you're LeBron, but by 40, you are done playing.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
what else are you offering? What else are you giving to them that can reach their hearts to be able to impact the next generation? So whatever you're transferring very physically, whether physical, mental, or spiritual, you should actually prioritize that so that they can also transfer it. Because we are mentioning their names and these coaches because like Coach Mike, because we remember what he sold into us. And
Yeah.
just like what Jeremiah said, no matter where you go to succeed, you know that somebody has left, not just physically. Most of the things I really remember from coaches who have really had impact on me are not even the skills they taught me physically, but certain words they spoke into my life. Like, when you wanted to give up, there are coaches that really always look for you as a human being, as a person, rather than the game you can play, because the game will leave you. But sometimes there are other things that you really have to have. So every academy has to really focus on that for sure. Yeah.
I, I mean, Joe, are you talking about coaches? You made mention of things that coaches did, and most of them weren't. I mean, skills that did or things that they taught you within basketball wise. But I know, I mean, you got the chance to train with Samori, and I mean, I want to know how Samori, what impact Samori had on your game as a player and as a human being as well.
Yeah, so I think Samori, I always say I always describe it to people like I mean I was always blessed to have a lot of coaches. I mean I was always blessed to have a lot of coaches, but every coach had a season and a phase. They brought something into my life as an athlete and especially as a basketball player. But for Samori, let me say, as a pilot, he came to take the plane to soar into the skies a little bit more. So other coaches helped me to take off, but Samori helped me to be in the sky to sail. What do I mean? Like he brought a lot of enlightenment to the game. Coming from the US, I remember the first encounter I had with him. I just went to him. I saw him. I mean, he had not coached us for long. He just came to do a practice with the UG team. I think you were still part of the team. The first UPAC we won, where he came to help. I think you were leaving by then. So yeah, I went to him and I just told him that I want him to train me as a beginner, like somebody who doesn't know the game. I don't care what the people are saying. I want to start with him as a beginner. And that was what I told him because I knew where he was coming from and I knew videos of, because back then in the University of Ghana, on my laptop is just college basketball games, NCAA games. I wasn't watching NBA. It was just college games. And I realized the understanding of the game had to be high, even though we were here. So I was never watching NBA. It was just Europe or even college, more of college basketball games. Guys who were my roommates can attest to that. The Wi-Fi was just so. I knew there was a level of understanding I had to have with this game. Looking at how guys were playing was not what I was seeing here in Ghana. So being privileged to have someone coming from there to help the team. I was like, hey, I'm not letting this opportunity slip. So I just went to him, told him that this is what I want to learn. Take me as a beginner. I want to learn the game no matter what. And he said it like he was like, meet me at 6:30 a.m. I'm there 6 a.m. Meet me at 7:30. I'm there 7 a.m. I'm just always trying to learn from him. So he came to take my understanding of the game to another level and also including the skills. Skill is not just physical, it's your ability to adapt and make decisions. So he put the training regime, everything we're doing as a point guard. So as a point guard, he took my game to another level of understanding the game, reading the game, making decisions, reading and reacting. Or I mean, there were still mistakes that I had to make, but I was now exposed to different roles in the game even though I hadn't traveled to the US yet. So I felt like even though I had some worry, I was still in the US because I was so it attested to it when I traveled out for my first professional journey in Greece, where they actually thought I played in college outside. I was like, no, my college was in Ghana. Why? It's I attribute that to Samori also helping me to really understand the game and opening my understanding. He gave me videos. I could sometimes be in his house watch like videos, reading the game, studying tape, mistakes. We play games. He cuts film. He made me understand what film study is. I was watching college games, but I just watch it and I know that something happened. But reading the game and knowing what actually happened before the basket, he was the one who actually broke it down, started giving me an understanding to how certain things happen in the game. So I attribute that to him. Yeah.
Okay, I mean that's great. I mean, like I've always been saying, like I went back home, I see a lot of kids. They like kids in Ghana are very talented. I see it, but I mean, basketball is just not about that. You need to be able to read a game. It's more aspect of the game. It's a game within a game that people don't really understand. They just see it from probably one point of view, right? But like you say, like Samori took you to, he made you like you're like running, he made you fly. I mean, that's another aspect of the game that I mean, it should be taught, right? As a point guard, you're a leader. And I mean, right now you branch into like the mental performance and psychology aspect of,
I
of
want to ask a
sports.
question before you get to the next question. I want to say something real quick because we're on the call right now. I just got a text message from one of my friends from back home, right? He told me one of the guys, I was close. We used to live like neighbors next to me in my house. He died. He just died, bro. And I was just wondering, like, man, we're still alive today. We get to talk about basketball and all that stuff. And the craziest part is that that kid, when I started learning basketball, I just met, that kid was there with me. He's like almost my height too. He's called Ezekiel. He was like, he had a chance to learn the game of basketball. He's, six something. Like, he was tall as hell. I started learning the game. He just never wanted to take that route. He wanted to do the smoking routes, getting wild all the time, following the football, doing all the crazy things all the time. And I just heard today he's dead. It's like random. This is so random. And I'm like, damn, that could be me too if I decided to take that, if I had taken that route, you know what I mean, and just be on the street doing any crazy stuff. But like just having basketball, putting God first, it just kind of saved us in a way, you know what I mean? And just like, I don't want to say how they say he died, but you guys can imagine, what probably happened, the kind of lifestyle he chose, you know what I mean? So I said, I'm glad, we're getting to have you on the podcast so we can actually tell the kids what it takes or what you need to do, the things you can do to save yourself from such situations, you know what I mean? So it's just, random, it just happened right now. So it's like, I want to share that out there. So
Wow. Well, rest in peace to him, and we send our condolences to his family as well too.
Yeah,
That's a sad news.
it's crazy.
Okay, so back to what we're talking about. What I mean, you are into the mental performance and psychology and sports right now, right? So I want to ask, why is mental health important for athletes?
So important.
So, over the years, I mean, it's over 2 decades now. It's been increasing with the attraction or with the focus on mental.
Thanks for that. He'll have to restart again when he gets back.
Yeah, I'll ask him the question again if he comes back. Yeah, but I mean, condolences to that kid's family, man. It's a sad news that happened to his family. So we
Well,
send
it's
our
crazy, bro.
condolences.
Charlie, it's crazy. It's very interesting, man. I grew up with this guy, bro. I grew up with him.
Hmm.
Like we used to love, do a lot of things together, hang out. Man, he chose a crazy lifestyle. But at the same time, you know what I mean? That doesn't determine your thought or whatever it is. But it just tells me how short life is. You know what I mean? Like I'm not special than him. You feel me? We're all the same human beings. But he's gone and I'm here. You
That's
know what I
right.
mean? What makes me special than him? So that's why I like to enjoy every day. Enjoy the moment because tomorrow is not even promised. You know what I mean? So
Oh, yeah.
let's enjoy every moment, man. Just make the best out of it for sure. I think Joel is facing some network issues right now, but
Yeah, we'll get him back online very soon. So how is summer going for you? Tell us about how summer is going for you, how training is going for you, preparing for the season.
somebody's going great. I'm still trying to get fully healthy. You know, what I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not in the best shape right now. I've been playing open rounds and stuff. You know, trying to get a feel of the game, not lose it. Um, we do a lot of camps, college schools. We always have camps in the summer too. So we have to help other kids, teaching them the game, working on our patience, just giving them, motivation and just helping them, support them and stuff like that. So that's what we've been doing most like all week, busy with that. So, but I get to lift a little bit, after the camps, and then I'll, get to play a little bit. But for me myself, I said I'm not fully healthy yet, so I'm trying to, get healthy and mentally be prepared. Because if you're not healthy, you can't be mentally prepared. Because in your head, you might think you're ready to go, but your body's not gonna give you that that full or that energy to to get whatever you need to get done. So I'm trying to get in the best rehab stuff I need to do to get okay. But I think I told you guys already. I'm trying to go back to Ghana, bro. Go back to the roots and see if there's anything they can do to help me, to prevent this injuries I'm going through and stuff like that. This minor injuries because it's always like the smallest injury, bro, and it's just gonna take a toll on you all the time. So hopefully, it doesn't affect me this season, so I can go all out. So that's what I'm looking forward to right now. Just be these injuries, bro. These little things, back, ankle, hamstring. Like thank God I don't have to do no surgeries and stuff, but like it's always like the little minor no injuries, And those stuff they hurt. It's not like something I just play through, like any injuries or all those things like that. Just they actually really hurt. So yeah, just doing the rehab and stuff, it's for sure gonna help, get back. So I can't wait to see, myself, in top shape and healthy. My bad, Chad. He's trying to connect you. What's up, Shaya? He's trying to connect Joel on the podcast. Shaya, how you doing? Shaya, where are you from? Are you in Ghana? I don't know if you guys are you in Ghana or what? Because I know I need to meet a lot of Ghanaians when I go back to Ghana. I'm coming to Ghana in July, so I'm probably gonna see some people, some of you guys.
Yeah, we're trying to get Joel back on the live. I mean, it's network problems back home.
I know there's a lot of network issues. I get it. I understand. I understand. I'm not tripping.
Yeah, so what kind of stuff are you trying to? Are you trying to run a camp in Ghana? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to
Oh, I
do?
literally got my flight tickets yesterday night, so everything is gonna be random. Last time I didn't have no camps planned, but I ended up having like 5 camps back home. So I probably will have some camps too, but it's gonna be very random. So I'm just excited to be home. Eat some jollof rice. Do some things I need to do to help myself. But I want to make sure I'm healthy though. I want to be in shape too. So I'm going to be in the gym a lot. I'm going to be working out. I think that I have one friend who said he's on the Legon team, so he's going to give me access to the gym so we can work out together. Get some shots up. Get in shape. Also, I want to go back and drink some real coconut water. I want to drink some real coconut water and run. Like I feel like it's going to give me way different energy. I want to try that vibe again. Like I'm going to be working and stuff like that. So I'm excited to see how everything goes.
Yeah,
But
we're trying to get Joel back on the line. He told me he's on, so I'm trying to reconnect him back on the line so we can have continue our conversation.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
please do.
I mean, I think the network in Ghana is a little bit challenging for.
Yeah,
Oh, Joey, what you
yeah,
in
it's
Ghana
a
right
bit
now?
challenging with
Yeah, Joel
because
is
I'm,
in
I'm
Ghana.
in Ghana now, so
Oh, then
yeah,
you
I'm
gonna
not
see
in
me
Europe.
then.
So
Then you gonna see
Yeah,
me.
yeah, but I'll be leaving the first week of July. So
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm leaving first July. I'm leaving here, so I should be there. At least the first. Yeah.
you
oh,
probably
okay,
meet him for a little bit. You
okay,
probably meet him
okay,
for a little bit. Yeah. So Joel,
for
let me
sure,
get back
for sure,
to
for sure,
let's get back
for
to
sure.
this like real quick before. I mean, what's the name? Data and everything. I made money to do all this, so let's get it down like real quick so you can continue with your day. So Joel, I know you are into the mental performance and psychology of sports, and I wanted to ask why is mental health important for athletes?
Sorry, the question again. The network just went out.
Why is mental health important for athletes?
Oh, okay. So I mean, as I said, there's research always been going, like research has always gone on many decades ago, like about the importance of mental health. But then attention has not been given to it because normally you need to have a lot of case studies coming out up until when um athletes like Kevin Love coming out to speak about it because they had an experience, they were really affected by it, and that was when leagues like the NBA started giving a lot of attention to it before it came out. But to give a more simple light to the to what mental health is or why it's really important is the fact that, as I earlier mentioned, as human beings, we are tripartite beings. We're made up of the physical part, which is your body, your mental, your psychological part, which is your soul, and the third component, which is your spirit. But the middle, which is your soul, is made up of your will, your mind, and your emotions. And this is what mediates whatever happens physically in every human being. So whatever you think is actually what you become. And from that point, it's something that is always not really focused on. I mean, before many years, it's always about we have to train physically. But you look at it now in these days, there's a lot of, let me say, distraction that is up a lot in this generation because of social media, and it gives a lot of athletes the pressure to, look up to other people, try to be other people, try to get out of what you're really called to do. So there are a lot of things that social media has its benefits, but at the youth level, you realize that there's a lot of pressure, even according to research, there's a lot of pressure that youth athletes find themselves in, and they miss their identity, what we call identity crisis. So there are many, many, many challenges that have been posed mentally, psychologically to to the game of basketball, or let's say to sports generally, because as human beings we have three components, and that part has not always been focused on. So the challenges that always come out of it is the lack of focus, anxiety, low self-esteem, and lack of confidence, and recovery from injuries, so many mental struggles that athletes have, and it has
Yes.
over the years increased. It has really increased. So I actually spoke to one athlete recently, and he was telling me that based on the current experience he had recently, he now sees the importance of mental health because he went through a situation and he said, "Wow, he now understands what it is because he never knew he could do what he did." And if you look at it, the problem that he was actually facing, it was because it all stemmed from a point where he had, let me just say, a low self-esteem because the result which he experienced out of what he was doing was something that caused him to do something different. For example, let me just break it down because I don't want to speak about what actually he went through, but let me just give an example. Playing a game and you
Yeah.
not having a result that you want, then because there are so many things that are attached to it, like the NIL, there are awards that come with it, there are even promises of scholarships and many things, and you miss it,
Yeah.
then it becomes a very big headache for you.
Yeah.
Then you tend to find solace in other things. So you
Mm,
realize that the root cause is actually starting from something that is mental.
yeah.
But if you actually know who you are, you define your
Yeah.
identity, not based on what you are doing, but
Yeah.
um, the value you have as a human being,
Yeah.
not attaching it only to the game that you're playing, then you're able to have some results. But if there's no one to help you to come out of such a mental struggle, then you find yourself on the downside or a downslope where you
Mm,
fall into certain sort of distraction. So there's been a lot of challenges mentally that has come up over these years. Even though research has always been written, there's been academic research that has been given over the years about um, many psychological issues, just like I mentioned, and
yeah.
even strategies and skills that have been provided, like self-talk, visualization, imagery, with Kobe Bryant being one of the biggest pioneers of such a mental skill, which was visualization and imagery. There are many other part like breathing techniques, relaxation, all these ones are there. They've been there for many years, but it's just come to light because now many athletes are seeing that the kind of world we live in now, there's a lot of pressure. And with the sports being monetized now, basketball, NIL teams and all these things, money being attached to the game, there's so many things that come that the game attracts and a lot of pressure. So it makes these struggles or these challenges also find expression within the game. So it's very important if you really want to have the optimum performance as an athlete because you can only focus on the physical part. And for example, if we are all using our phones now, there's a physical component of the phone, there's a hardware of the phone, but what we put into the phone is what is going to give us what we are having physically, what is coming out of the phone. So if we're feeding our phones with junk, then definitely there's junk. Like I'm getting the data issues here in Ghana now. There are things that are going into. So definitely the part we don't see is what controls what we see. So the mental part is really important if we really focus on it. And it's been a great thing with big leagues like the NBA really focusing on that, and other leagues also focusing on that. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, talking about this, how do you think athletes should deal with pressure and expectations?
Sorry, coming.
How do you think athletes should deal with pressure and expectations?
How do we think athletes should?
Deal with pressure and expectations.
Oh, so
Yeah, I think his network is down again, but hopefully we get him back very soon.
Yeah, these are these disadvantages sometimes, of our country, man. Sometimes the Wi-Fi stuff, we gotta deal with that stuff, but we still gonna get shit done anyway. So it should be good. I don't know stuff. I didn't know he's in Ghana stuff, but that's cool.
Yeah. So what about you? Do you think what about you? Do you think mental health is important for athletes?
100%. Mental health is the most important thing. Like in life in general, like not only for athletes, you feel me? So yeah, mental health is
Sorry,
very, very important.
Okay.
I just had to reconnect the data again because I had to
Okay.
do a new
So
bundle. But that's no
you had
problem.
my question right, or I'll just
Yeah.
say my question again. How do you think athletes should deal with pressure and expectations?
Yeah, so I think the simple way to deal with pressure and expectations is most of the time it happens because the focus, the human mind can be like a lens of a camera. What you focus on is what you actually become. So it's dealing with pressure and expectations, just shifting your focus from most of the time because pressure happens because we are looking at the outcomes. So, for example, I'm going to play a game. I definitely want to win this game. Once my focus is on winning this game, then there's a lot of pressure going to be on me because I'm focused on the outcome which I can control. But if I then focus on the process that, okay, what can I do to actually help my team? Okay, what can I do? Okay, well, I'm the best rebounder on the team. Then I'm just going to give my effort to to be a beast on the board. Okay, what can I do as a point guard to help my team? I'm going to be the best leader, lead the team. I'm going to give my effort, give an assist, engaging everyone on the team, being the best teammate on the bench when I'm subbing, being the making sure my voice is heard on offense. So I'm rather focused on the process rather than the outcome. So usually when we focus on the outcome, the end goal, which we can actually control because you don't know if you're going to win. You can prepare as much as you want, but another team might prepare much better than you, and you don't decide the outcome. All you can actually control is your effort. So the best way to actually deal with pressure and expectation is shifting your focus. It's not wrong to have expectations as an athlete, but it has to be as part of the process goals that you have so that you can actually take a step to get there. Other people's expectations you can control. Your parents might be at the game, your girlfriend, your wife, your kids, your coaches, your fans. Everyone has the expectation. Of course, they're paying money to come and watch the game. So they need to have expectation. They want to get some fun. But you as the athlete, you have to control by shifting your focus that, hey, what can I do in the game? So usually when I was like even up to now, when I played started my professional journey in Greece, that was one thing I really struggled with. But I was grateful that I was learning my master's in sports psychology while I was playing. So I was able to transfer that knowledge when I came into the games, when I had struggles. And one thing I always advise athletes to do is to journal. Journal. Write your goals, your process goals. Yeah, exactly. Journaling is very important. Like I'm going into this game to be the best version of myself. I'm going to this game to give out my full effort, my 100%, 120. So you're focused on the process rather than the outcome. As soon as you tell yourself, I'm going into this game, there are games where I told myself I'm going to score 40 points or 30 points.
Not 3 points.
I was disappointed with what I had. Because as soon as you go into the game, you're just focused on scoring, and then you end up losing yourself and losing the team, your teammates, and all the people around you because you're focused on something that you cannot really control. So the main thing is shift your focus from trying to reach the outcome rather than the process that can get you there. So yeah.
And another question. I mean, that's a very good point you raised. I mean, like going to a game having so much expectations, and it comes down to you not meeting those expectations. You tend out to be like down on yourself, and I mean, question yourself as an athlete. But I mean, this comes with experience, though. I mean, I hope Jeremiah, you learning from this. I
No, I
mean,
took that. That was really good. Like I
yeah,
like the
it
journal
comes,
part, you know what I mean, and writing
it
down
comes,
the things you wanna do. So no, I appreciate that for sure, you know.
it comes with experience. All those things you notice them and you change your perspective about it. Okay, I'm going to this game. I'm going to do my best as a player. if this is what as my role, if I'm supposed to do this, I do it. What's expected of me, I do it. I do it to the maximum. You understand what I'm saying? And that's all you can give to the team. The results you can't control it, so you have to control what you have to control. I mean, all this comes with experience, and I mean, it's a good point you raised. And I also wanted to ask: have you ever struggled with your confidence as a player?
Yeah, I would. I would. I mean,
Yeah. But now I'm gonna start writing generals and stuff. I used to do that. I don't know. I stopped. You know what? I stopped doing it. Something told me to do it again last week. I didn't yet. I'm gonna start writing. Things I wanna do every day and all that stuff. Write that stuff down. I feel like it helps you focus instead of trying to. Or like when it comes to the game, thinking like, bro, something when I go to the game, I'm thinking about I want to dunk so bad. I end up not really dunking. You know what I mean? Or I do something like I feel like I just have to go in the flow state, just let everything come to me. You know what I mean? And it just works out from there. So obviously putting God first because it's more than basketball. So yeah.
yeah.
So, George, I was asking you: have you ever struggled with your confidence as a player?
Do you mean pre-performance or during performance or post-performance?
I mean, everything. You
Or
can
in
sum it
general?
up. You can sum, yeah, general. Have you ever struggled with your performance as a player?
Have I struggled with my performance? Like,
No, not
I
performance.
think,
Let me ask the
uh,
question again. Have you ever struggled with your confidence as a player?
oh, oh. I think, no, no. I think the first time, maybe I would say it's confidence, but I would say it's just being nervous because there's a new space and a new
Right,
environment you're
right,
going to
right,
step
right,
into.
right, right, right.
So
I like how you thought about the answer and then saying nervous. I like that. Go ahead.
it's just being nervous, but confidence, I believe there's been a lot of preparation I've always gone through. There's been a lot of work that has gone through to believe because confidence, one of the ways you really get confidence is out of preparation. So when you prepare very much for the stage that you're being exposed to, you can actually stand there knowing that you've put in the time, you've put in the work. So even though there might be some weaknesses to your game, you can still pull some strings. But for me personally, I would say maybe I would say generally with the game, but maybe a component of my game because when I was going into Europe um, to start my professional journey in Greece, the part of my game I really needed to improve was my shooting. I really needed to improve my shooting. So going into Europe in Greece for my first year into my second year, it was a part I really needed to improve. So my average starter was not so good, but off season I had to improve and keep working. So I'll say for that season, that was the only part because when you realize that okay, this is your weakness and teams are going to sag off a little bit against you, then it's like okay, should I take it or I shouldn't take it? So that is the only part of my game I can say. But apart from that, generally, no, and even up to now, no. It's just
I mean,
uh,
saying this, it means you put much more effort into your preparation if you are that confident, right? Because I mean,
yeah,
that's a good way of getting your confidence from too. I mean, as a Christian, you get your confidence from God, you get your confidence from your preparation as well. That's a two solid rock that you can stand on and not be shake and not be like what's the name
moved.
nervous or whatever it is about it. But I mean, nervousness comes naturally though. As a human being, it comes
Yeah,
naturally, but it runs out as soon as the referee throws a ball in the air. It just runs out. But
exactly.
it's just natural. It just comes to
It's
every human
actually a
being.
sign that you care about the game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, athletes like Mike Tyson, all these athletes, they all go through this nervousness. So don't think, oh, nah, it's natural. So I also wanted to ask you, and I mean, what advice would you give to athletes battling with anxiety and depression?
Well, for athletes battling with anxiety and depression, anxiety comes out of, just like we said, is it comes out of, it's a level of, it's the highest form of, let me say, to me, I always say it's the highest form of fear. And it comes out of you trying to find yourself in the unknown rather than living in the present moment. So athletes, I mean, there's always been mental skills that have always been introduced, even according to research, especially like looking at self-talk, looking at focused breathing, relaxation. These are mental skills that athletes can really use to actually help themselves come out of these mental struggles because it happens. But you are only anxious when you're trying to find out what is in the unknown in the future. So as much as possible, try to live in the present. Try to be in the present. Depression also is the highest form of anxiety because the moment you don't treat it, you now start looking for answers where you can't find them. And that's when the disappointment level becomes really high upon your shoulders and even in your mind. Then you realize that it ends up into the last form is suicide. The last form is suicide. So when it gets to the anxiety level, the best thing is to look for a mental performance expert to help you or a sports psychologist to help you create maybe just accommodate you, help you within uh, the confines of his office to help you come out of such struggles that you have. But if you get to the level of depression, then you really need help. So for athletes, make sure you're always living in the present because in maybe the unknown that is in the future, you can't completely earlier said. So trying to be in the present, trying to be in the moment, yes, feedback. Analysis will always be there. That okay, you were injured, the self, athlete struggle and recover from it. So yes, we told that okay, you can come back from your injury, you can't play like the way you used to play, you're not yourself. Now they become words that are trying to go into your mind and oh, it's true. Then you start thinking about it, you're trying to form those images in your mind, those words are now becoming your world. And now you create that environment where what actually is not supposed to be there has been created by your words and even the words of people around you. So using mental skills like self-talk. I do that a lot. Self-talk, just like we said, journals, writing words that positive affirmations that you can always confess to yourself every day that hey, despite my current situation, I know I'm still the best. I'm still the best. I can do this. So that is creating your world with your words. These are ways that you can actually come out of such situation until it hits the level where you're actually going to commit some suicide. We don't want it to get to that place. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, how do you think athletes can build mental toughness? I mean, that's something that's the last question I'll ask in this mental performance and psychology. How do you think athletes can build mental toughness?
Well, I think I taught some athletes this ago, but most of the time mine is mostly the unorthodox way. And when I say unorthodox way,
To my
when they say
spiritual.
mental toughness, no, no, not just that, but many times, many times, coaches always used to tell us that Be mentally tough. Be mentally tough. But they don't tell you how. That was one question I always used to have. Like, that's the question. So for me, some coaches will always tell you that you have to do the hard drills of practice. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Some coaches will always say you have to do the hard drills of practice. You have to be, the hard way they train us when we were growing up. But all those ones are flawed. Why? Because mental toughness is not about doing something physically alone. Mental toughness is even sometimes accepting to quit.
Mm.
And I'll break it down. One of the strategies, there are several strategies, but one of them that I always say is first of all, as an athlete, you need to have what I call like a perspective lens or a perception lens. What it means is always look at everything that is happening in a two-sided way. Everything in life happens is either it's good or it's bad. So the perspective you have about a situation can always help you to find an adjustment to whatever situation that has happened. Whether most of the time it's something maybe let's say it's unfavorable. So for me, anything that happens, I define it as unfavorable. So there's a perception lens or a perspective you have to every situation. The second thing I will say is always seek to embrace failure. We don't only learn by growing through the good parts. We have to fail to learn.
Yeah.
So people who are mentally tough are people who know how to embrace failure rather than running away from it. When you fail, accept it and know how you can quickly gather yourself and find a different channel to grow. Another way is ask for help. One way I'll say to athletes, ask for help. People think when you ask for help, you're weak. But actually, asking for help means that you are the strongest. Asking for help is like, I know you have this. I know I don't have this. And when you give me this, I can fill my water. There's a saying they
Right.
always say in our language, local language, that for the viewers' sake, maybe who will be international, I'll translate by say, uh, Epo Keseka Esutogu. That means that even the ocean it still rains, rain still falls into it. So there's nobody who is beyond help. No matter what it is, even physically with your game, mentally, if you need help, ask for it. Physically, if I don't know how to do something, if the athlete is even younger than me, I ask for help. Another thing is when I said quitting. When I say quitting, I mean I think there was I don't remember it exactly. There was an Olympic athlete who went through an injury, right? And through that injury, the person was actually supposed to go for another competition. And the person going for the next competition would actually have worsened the injury. But the person said, no, I quit. I won't do the injury. People will say, the person is mentally weak. No, the person is not, the person is mentally because he knows you going for that competition. You're going to worsen the injury. And what might happen is you're even not going to play anymore. You destroy
That's
your
big.
career.
That is really big. And the coach
So
is
why would
messing.
you go destroy your whole career when you know you can rest, recover, and come back fully?
Can we hit
That is
on that?
science, and that's why I say it's flawed when we say people are mental, because those days, and that's one thing that worries a lot of young guys, even in Ghana and even I think Africa. We growing up, it's like you have to push yourself beyond the limits. No, when you are injured, take a rest, bro. Relax,
Can I say
recover fully,
something?
and come. And that's one thing I really had to learn the hard way playing in Europe. If you're not 100, I didn't understand it. People say, "Oh, the players are no, 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 no." If you are 70%, we don't need you on the court. Take a rest. Come up. It's just let them. It's quitting, but quitting is not. It doesn't mean that you are weak. It means that you value what you have and you want to come out fully and give it to the next. So that is what it means. And one thing I also give to this is for young athletes. I say travel solo. What I mean is find time and travel. Travel to places alone. We are in a generation everybody wants to be around their parents. But I traveled to Nigeria, Nigeria, I lived in Nigeria for 2 years alone. And
Well,
that taught me, it teaches you a sense of survival, knowing that, okay, I can survive alone when I come into a place where it's a different atmosphere. Because as basketball players, the business side of it, you move to proteins, different proteins everywhere, and you'll be alone. And that's a level of mental toughness you need. But if you're not able to build that, and you get into different places, it's very difficult. So try and practice that sometimes. I mean, for we in Africa, it's much easier for us because we we always do things alone. And I think the last part I'll say is maybe reading books and trying to read more, read more, expand your knowledge. Yeah,
my reading
that's all
there.
I'll
Oh
say.
yes, that's one day. I know. I have to work on
And
that. But
also practicing silence. Yeah,
so it's very
there's too
important.
much noise in this generation. Sometimes just put your phone down, take 3 days off from everybody. Just practice silence. It helps you to be mental because mentally tough people are people who are able to control their thoughts. There's no people who are able to do hard situations, go through hard. No, no, no. To be mentally tough means you're able to control your thoughts. Yeah,
Yeah. No, but you said something earlier on which
and your
caught my
emotions.
attention
Yeah,
about the injury part, because being a D1 athlete and stuff like that, there are sometimes coaches put athletes in a very tough situation. They make it seem like, oh, you don't love the game, even when you hurt. They want you to push through, lose your whole body for them. And remember that this right now is all business. You go and hurt yourself for a school whilst you're going through something. This school's not going to recruit you because you're injured. You know what I mean? So it's very tough for us athletes to even like sit out when we head because now it's like the coach is gonna put you in a mental jail whereby it's like, what am I even supposed to do? Like this what happened to me last year. I went through like bad injury, my hamstring and stuff like that. I was going through it. My coaches convinced me to even lie to the trainers that I'm fine, ready to play and stuff like that. I went to get an injection. They said for my back to help my hamstring, whatever I did. I did all that stuff. I was still not healthy, but I decided, no, my coach is, pushing. I was like 65%, bro. I'm not even, but I know I'm nice as basketball. So I was like, I might still sacrifice myself and everything. And when it was still even working well, and guess what? When it got to a point, it was really bad. I told the coaches, they told me to go to the game. I'm like, coach, what I'm going through right now is really bad. I can't go into the game. Guess what? The coach got so mad, pissed off, saying I'm soft and whatever, and I can't even play. I'm not allowed to come to practice and whatever. Bro, that made me feel so bad. I just realized that this coach don't really care about us, bro. They don't care about you.
I mean, let me get into this. I mean, some do. I mean, I've been in that
Some,
situation
some, no,
before.
some do, some
Now,
do.
hold on. Some, like most of them say your 70% is better than someone's 100%. And as an African athlete, there's more expectations on you because of the scholarship they're giving you. So they think they're doing a big favor, right? So they put this expectation on you and they expect you to deliver. And they expect you not to be in tune with your feelings or whatever. They expect you to be not like separate yourself from your feelings and just give out your 100% every time, even when you're injured. And they keep telling you that same thing that your 70% or 60% is better than someone's 100%. And like same thing Joel is saying, you need to make sure that you take care of your body. But in some situations, it's hard to make decisions because most of these kids coming from Africa, financial situations. If
But
I leave now, if I lose my scholarship, where am I going to? So I have to put my body on the line.
right, right.
So it's life. It comes down to life. You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, these are things that some athletes also experience. I mean, coming from a good home that your dad, your mom will be able to support you and in whatever decision you make, I think it makes it more easier for you as an athlete to make more decisions as well too. If Joel, you understand what I'm saying? If I'm coming from a good home, my family, my dad has
Yeah,
has a solid foundation for my mom. I can make it mode. Why you Max, NCJ, Joel? Why you not playing this? I'm injured. I can't go today, coach. No, I need you on that basketball court. No, I can't go. I can say it if I'm coming from a good background. If not, I mean, coaches come to athletes and tell them, hey, if you don't perform today, you don't perform well today or tomorrow, you packing your bags, going back to Africa. These are threats that coaches give athletes. And it's real life. You understand what I'm saying? So
right.
it comes down to life too as well. So
But yeah, nah, I was just trying to say it's just
Well,
tough. It was just tough for sure. So, but I'm glad, I'm getting back almost, almost there. Yeah, I don't feel no hamstring pain like I used to, but which is a play with some ankle stuff. But
yeah.
it's crazy, you know what I mean? Because like I said, there are really some really good coaches, you know what I mean? But it's just
Yeah, there
like
are some good
we have to,
coaches that
yeah, we just,
most of them, most of these, and let me tell you something. Most of these coaches that are good are coaches that are mentally tough.
yeah,
They are mentally the soft ones are the ones that actually tell you to go. The tough ones they
Yeah.
know if he wanted to go, he will. But the
yeah,
soft ones, the
100%.
fragile ones, those ones that were not playing, those ones that were on the bench, those are the
Yeah.
ones that will tell you if you don't come, if because they've not been there, they are mentally
He
not
told me
tough.
one coach told me
Let
one
me tell
coach told me, "Oh, I was playing basketball with my broken leg,
you.
bro. He trying to
Let me
tell me
tell
he
you,
could go break, bro, play
let me
with my
tell you,
broken leg, bro. He told me he
those
was doing that. I played the whole games with a broken leg.
those are the coaches that are not mentally tough. The tough ones, the mentally tough ones that can actually be in silence for like 3 days, like Joel is talking about, and not talk to anyone and control their thoughts. Those ones they can give you grades. They'll give you days. Oh, okay, Max, I'm giving you up to like 1 week. If not, let's see what the team health practitioners can do for you. They'll take good care of you. The mentally tough ones will take good care of you. But I mean, that's what I've noticed. Let's leave it to that. I mean, let's go back to your bow journey. Your bow journey going to bow as an athlete who played in
Oh,
Greece, right? Your
it's
profession, you played in Greece, right? Can you hear me?
come again, Max.
I'm saying, what do you think about the
Yeah,
bow
I can
coming?
hear you. I mean, it's a great platform for the African continent these days, and how it's giving young talents, even promising talents in Africa, a platform to showcase their talent. And, it's like another channel to take your talent somewhere. Because if you can travel to the US, if you can travel to Europe, then what else can you do? So it's another opportunity being created for athletes here, but I think it's still not giving the attraction because even though it's created for Africans, they still find foreigners playing in the pile. So I still ask myself, what exactly is the purpose of the league being called Basketball Africa? I mean, they might say it's Basketball Africa League so they can bring foreigners in, but I believe for the qualification rounds, you find a lot of Africans playing there, but the main league, you find Africans, but most of them are Africans who have actually played overseas, which I mean, it's a very understandable for the market because they want it to be marketed well, the value and everything. So from that perspective, it's very understood. But there's still more work to be done in developing the grassroots level of basketball, so that I think it's getting there, where Africa is getting to the place where basketball knowledge is being invested more in coaches and in athletes. And it's, as we always say, whatever we learn out there, we should try as much as possible to come and transfer it to the young ones here so that someday, you know, and I think it's a very good, it's a very good start because every beginning, it might always have sometimes a couple of little lapses that people will always find something to talk about. So it's a great start. For my experience, it was very good experience having different pro ballers from different parts of the world, Asia, Europe coming around, Americans coming around to play. It was very, very competitive. It wasn't easy. It was a different level of pace, running. Yeah, it was a good one. It was a good one. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
It's a good one.
So what do you think Ghana can do to maximize their abilities or potential or capabilities of going to qualifying to the bar big stage?
Sorry, come again.
What do you think Ghana basketball can do to maximize their chances of getting to the bigger stages of BAL, like qualifying for BAL?
Hmm. For now, that's that's a great question. For now, I think um, it's more. First of all, people are always surprised when I don't talk about resources first. It's never about resources. It's first taking care of the intangibles. First of all, there needs to be a collective effort and a unity. Unity not just with the basketball federation, but also with the ministries. Because anything that basketball is offering, there's not so much head. It's like individuals are the ones just pushing an agenda. But the individuals might carry the name of Ghana, but the institutions of Ghana are not supported. So individuals might take the name of Ghana to represent Ghana at the BAL as a club or maybe as a company, as an entity or a team. But institutions are not involved generally as a country to help these teams to actually go out. What do I mean? Collectively, when it comes to personnel, coaching personnel, when it comes to resources being provided, whether financially or anything, it has to be a collective effort because BAL is an African league. It's not just a zone league, it's an African league. So all hands have to be on deck. So players have to be players that are the best from the country, have to be the ones to represent, unfortunately. Even though players might be on the teams and everything. I mean, that might be, I'll just leave that to the managements of teams. But if we're looking first, we have to focus on the intangibles. There has to be unity, there has to be cooperation, just not with the federation, but also with institutions that are within the government or even any governing body that supports sports or basketball. Then it carries on to other managerial parts that have to be done. Then also I would say more knowledge has to be acquired when it comes to the personnel that needs to be leading teams that need to go to the bar because at that point it becomes more tactical and very technical compared to what might be done locally. So looking at it from that point, there needs to be a lot of cooperation done, and there needs to be a lot of knowledge still being there. I mean, we are all learning, we are all growing, and that will have to start also with the league in Ghana being more competitive. And for me, I mean, talents are rising in Ghana, but every time everybody leaves the country. So it's like those who are left are those who are actually playing in the country. And that's very understandable because the league hasn't been developed to a place where people can make a living out of what they are playing in the country for. So obviously, everybody wants to find a way and exit. So if these things are actually solved, and in Ghana, you find a lot of people doing things for their own. Yes, it's good, brighten your corner and everything, but once that cooperation is not there, it becomes very difficult. So I don't mind if your coach, hey, let me get this person on the other team pick up your brain. Let's go together. Let's just go attack because we are going as Ghana, as a team from Ghana. So even though you go alone, if the carrying the name of Ghana, we have to go together as a force. Yeah. So I think these are some of the things that we can really add up.
And also, I wanted to ask, why do you think what is hindering Ghana from having a national team? And do you think it's important for us to organize ourselves to get a national team to play on in big competitions?
Unfiltered?
Unfiltered, you can go unfiltered.
Well, I think for me personally, I think um, we have too much activity and we are not defining our identity. What do I mean? Believe me, there's so much going on with basketball in Ghana. There's so much going on. And I know you know about it. There's so much going on, up and down, so many things going on. But it's a lot of activity, but no identity being defined. What is Ghana basketball like? When you say what is Ghana basketball, there's no identity you can give to Ghana basketball. When you look at South Sudan, we know South Sudan has an identity now because why? They persevered by building a foundation and looking at one person who can actually spearhead that little thing to actually take them to where. And it took years, even looking at how they built it. So many activities going on, but just like I said previously, collectively, we cannot do something as a united force as Ghana if we all have divided attention and different thoughts. So if I'm doing something, Maximo, you are doing your own. This one is doing his own. This one is doing his own. When the time comes, how are we going to fulfill? Because I will say, oh, my part is better than I think this is not going to help. So there's so much activity, but an identity has to be defined by making sure that the foundation is actually cleared where we know that, okay, who are we all putting our egos aside to make sure that this person is leading? But if this one says, okay, I want to be the one leading, I want to be this, I want to be this, at the grassroots level, we are actually battling all these, then it's going to be difficult for the national team to really take place because yes, we can have that because we're a country. And there are many talents. I was telling someone today, there are many talents that are going to Ghana, not just with basketball, but at the foundational level. There's too much activity, and we are not defining our identity. Nigeria has defined their identity over many years. They're an aggressive country with that focus on basketball. So even if they are playing, they know that okay, local players will play qualification. We're going to bring international players to play the main games. It's defined. You can't touch it. We'll look for it. They have defined it because why? They are preserving the culture, they are preserving the name. So if we're all doing different things and we don't want to actually achieve something together, it might still keep taking the long time that we want to. So I think that's for me, that's my perspective on it.
Do you have an idea on which we need to start this? Because obviously our leaders are not going to help with this stuff. Do you think we have to take things into our
Oh,
own hands and stuff?
I think there some of them are helping, but just like I said, if someone is helping, another is actually having something else to do.
It's tough.
It's too many things going on, too many activities. We have to sit down and define together what do we want to do? What do we really want to achieve as a country? Not as my personal entity, not as this person's personal entity.
No, for sure.
If it comes to that point, there's nothing we can do. Yeah.
No, for
I
sure.
think I have two more questions and we're done. What do you think about the Accra Basketball League?
I think I was speaking to someone earlier today, and the person was asking me how many leagues outside. I mean, that's a wide gap, but outside in other countries, you have about 10 leagues in Europe, like in Greece and even in Germany. There are about almost eight to 10 leagues in the country.
Hmm.
That's just one country. So, but I mean, that's different systems. But Ghana just has one, which is the Accra Basketball League, which is a great start. Looking at the past years, it's always been the same. But now with guys like War Sports, guys like Sankofa Hoops and GH Hoops Reports, because of social media, putting it out there and the way the media coverage is going, it's a beautiful thing. Uh, we must give those guys their flowers. It's a huge thing that they are doing because social media can put you out there really quick. Many guys have actually got scholarships and have traveled because of some of these highlights that come out, like Joel Patrick and all these guys. So I think the attraction that is coming with the league is very great. But even yesterday, one of the big games between two teams, Task and Spintex Nice couldn't come on because the weather conditions. So these things are things that if you look at such a big game, top two teams in the country, there's a way it can be monetized. if there's a TV channel that's good, if there's an indoor court that is actually there to actually let this game flow, it's something that can really help the league to grow more and more. And I think last year I heard the finals they actually charge tickets and other things like that. So there are many things that the league is actually trying as much as possible to do. But as I said earlier, it still comes down to the activity and the identity not being defined, where the foundation has to be cleared, where everybody sits down and says that, hey, you know what? I know I have this, but you can do this. Let this person do A, B, C, and D. Let us lead and come together. More about a mental thing. Yeah, so the ABL is picking up, but there's still more that we can do as a country.
Okay. So my last question is, and uh, would you playing for Spring Tech Nines in their next qualification to bow? And what are you hoping for? And what's the future for Joel Tham?
Oh, currently, I have a few trials lined out as I return. So I'm just in off season, working out as a free agent, staying in shape, and just training in the University of Ghana campus and some private gyms in my neighborhood. So, cuts in my neighborhood. So, just preparing for the question about Spring Text Nights. For sure. I mean, it's always about the country and also representing a greater goal. So if I'm called to represent the country, why not? I'll definitely answer the call. So, but obviously, it's also
Oh shit. But hey, Max Mode. So wait,
Yeah,
there are gonna be some tournaments going on next month. I can go watch.
yeah, I think so. You can go watch the Accra Basketball League.
That'll be fun. I've never seen that shit before. I would love to watch that.
Let's try to get Joel and just let's end this live because
Man, he's,
we've been here for
he's,
long, right?
he already said whatever. He has been here for long. He already said the things he wanted to say.
Okay, all right, bro. So, uh, I mean, for the everyone, we'll put this on YouTube so everyone can watch it, right?
But no, it was cool. It was a great conversation. He had a lot to say, bro. He's really mature for sure. He learned a lot. He knows what he's talking about. And he has a lot of information that for sure can help impact the kids, back home and everything like that. So I was glad I got to talk to him. It's been like 9 years since, almost 10 since I saw him because I didn't even see him, when I was, home. So it's a blessing to see that he's also doing well, doing his things. Joel Tham is, he's a dog. He's a big time player for sure. I love watching him play and playing against him before when I was little, learning the game and stuff like that. So it's a privilege to have him all year. And yeah, you guys looking forward, to talking to more other players and athletes, and then seeing how life is for them and see what they go through, and then getting their input about life, knowledge, mindset, and everything. So we love you, all those who come, show up and watch and go and live, and then all those who are gonna see the videos, later on. I appreciate you guys, and we know we don't have the support yet. It's part of the process. People don't like to support, first things. They want to see us at the top first. But yeah, we're gonna be at the top. So you guys gonna support eventually. So we're gonna keep trusting the process. And thank you, Mike. We appreciate you guys for showing up. And then yeah, it's a blessing. So yeah, now we are about to call it a day. My phone is even low battery right now. I'm in my setup right now. I'm in LA. My setup is in Sacramento. So, but peace out. We're gonna get everything sorted. Let's see if Max can come back before I go.
All right, man. So, I mean, we'll have this conversation another time. All right, peace out.